back from the break, visiting via phone with Dr. Roger Kendall. Dr. Kendall's an expert on a product called dimethylglycine, or DMG. And DMG, when you look at it, is a fascinating compound, Doc. I know with me as an athlete, and we're going to get into the athletic side of it, especially oxygen utilization side, which really, I think of all the sports nutrition products I've taken, I've been more impressed with DMG than anything. But before the break, you talked about this product called calcium pangamate, which is a product that's been on the market. DMG is one of the actives in that particular product. Tell us, you said it got labeled as a B15, as a B vitamin. I'm curious to know, how did that particular compound, was it molecularly similar to a B vitamin? Is that how it got confused off the front end?
I'm not sure exactly. This was coined by the Russian researchers and also those who were researching it in Europe. And what they found was that the properties that they found was very much like a vitamin, in that it seemed to have an effect on the initially cardiovascular system, athletic performance. They found it impact on brain function, and they just found such a wide aspect of its utility and its use, that they felt that it was essential for the human body to work properly and efficiently. What they never was able to show, however, was that to coin something a vitamin is an essential, in that if it's absent from the body, it produces a deficiency disease like vitamin C and scurvy, or we could say vitamin D and rickets. And so, but that never was shown for what they called calcium pangamate. And it came to the United States, and it was touted to be a vitamin B15. And so this got the attention, of course, by the regulators, FDA and others, and I think that was really why it got a lot of attention, because if you call something a vitamin, it means that, hey, you need this in your diet, or else you're going to get sick, or you're going to have a deficiency disease. And it turned out that so the whole aspect of it, calcium pangamate, was that it was, number one, they were touting a molecule that really was not natural to the body, and it really was a cover. I believe it was almost like a marketing cover for the real active nutrient, dimethylglycine, which DMG, which I basically showed through a 2-year extensive research, and found indeed that DMG was the active behind what was called pangamate, or vitamin B15, and in my book I point that out very clearly why that's the case. And so when you all come down to it, the other aspects of it, pangamate and B15, really was not relevant. What we're looking at is a natural amino acid, an intermediate metabolite of the body, which basically, when taken in appropriate levels, can have some profound effects on health, well-being, performance, and well as recovery from a number of degenerative conditions.
And the way I see it here, Doc, it's a modulator, is kind of how you put it, to some degree, modulating activities, high or low, kind of regulates on that level. You deemed it an intermediary metabolite. Will you explain just for a second to the listeners and the viewers, what is a metabolite and what is an intermediary metabolite?
Very good. Many metabolites or compounds in the body are stored, let's say, by various organs of the body. Like you can store certain substances in the body which can be utilized by the body, in the liver or in various other organs. An intermediate metabolite, however, is something that is taken into the body and it's utilized. It's broken down into other substances. So it's an intermediate. It's an intermediate metabolite. In other words, it comes into the body, and the body utilizes by breaking it down and using its pieces, or the parts of the molecule, in different or new molecules that are formed from it. In the case of dimethylglycine, what it is, it's the dimethylated amino acid glycine. And so what happens when you take dimethylglycine is that the molecule DMG contributes methyl groups to the body, as well as glycine and other intermediates that come from the metabolism of DMG in the body. And so DMG is not stored in the body; it's used up or utilized and by the cells, or even if it's there and not utilized, it goes down the various pathways and is used or naturally eliminated from the body in a very safe way. So it's a very so that's why we call it an intermediate metabolite, because it's taken in but utilized by the body, broken down into other useful compounds.
And once this is produced, because it's produced by the body from choline, from what I understand, and in the diet. And you're saying that it's broken down in these methyl groups, and I want to talk about methylation here in just a moment. But these compounds are broken down and utilized. How fast? And from what I understand, that's the reason we have a hard time testing DMG levels in the body, because this compound's manufactured by the body and then broken down very quickly. Do you have a rate of, I guess it's probably based on need, but it sounds from reading your book that it breaks down very, very quickly in the body, this intermediate metabolite, the DMG.
Yes, I would say so relative to other, because this is enzyme-driven. Others, there's enzymes in the body that basically in cells will take these molecules and will convert them into other substances in the body. This is what's called, that is the whole role of metabolism. Things are broken down and built up in the body. But in this case, you have to break down foods, let's say, to get amino acids, fatty acids, and glucose, if you will, for the body to utilize. And likewise, amino acids are utilized to build up protein and other substances. But the DMG, on the other hand, is utilized by the body for methyl groups and for glycine. And this, I think, is the very key to the insight about why DMG does what it does. What it points out is that I believe that there is a need or for more methylation in the body than what's been recognized in the past. I mean, that there is a deficiency of methyl groups for high efficiency, whether it deals with the brain, whether it deals with the heart, whether it deals with the immune system, and I think that's a big part of its activity. In the other area, we see dimethylglycine acting almost like a cellular or chemical messenger in the body, which helps to promote or enhance various other pathways within the body, whether it deals with protein synthesis, whether it deals with fatty acids or whatnot. It seems to be involved in a lot of these other different pathways, and we see this by the number of studies that we've done which have been published and also available to be reviewed. But the main thing is that DMG, as an intermediate metabolite, produces other substances that the body needs and depends upon. For instance, glutathione. Glutathione is the master detoxifier in the liver. It basically is essential to getting rid of a lot of things that come into the body, helpful to protect the liver. And the glutathione requires methylation to complete its synthesis. Well, if the methylation is impaired or not acting efficiently, you're not going to produce adequate glutathione. Also, another phosphocreatine is a source of energy in the body, along with ATP. But phosphocreatine, it requires methylation to be functioning in the body. So, in other words, neurotransmitters, these are in the brain. They require methylation. DNA repair requires methylation. So you go down the list, and you find that methylation, and particularly transmethylate, being able to move one methyl group from a source into a corporate structure, is an important part of maintaining function as well as the metabolism within the cell. And when there's a deficiency of methylation, this can lead to toxic states, because right now they know that certain cancers in the liver, for instance, can be induced by depriving methyl groups in the liver, for instance, can result in cancer. And so there's some very strong links to show that methylation is very, very important to maintaining wellness, health, and actually to prevent, if you will, a lot of different degenerative conditions.
Outstanding. Now, the one thing that if you can, we've got about 3 minutes before the break here. Can you explain to the viewer and the listener the methylation process? I mean, what is it? The methyl group is attaching to these molecules or different areas or cells in the body. Explain to us a little bit about what this process is, real quickly, in layman's terms, if you can, and then what it does for the cell. I'm still not sure on that.
Well, yes, I know that your audience is very limited on their understanding of biochemistry, but the methyl group is CH3, a carbon with 3 hydrogens attached to it. That is just a part of a structure. It's not a whole molecule. It's just a moiety that's part of a structure. But methyl groups are part of other molecules, and methyl groups are important for, as I say, for the synthesis of many molecules in the body. The body gets these methyl groups from what's known as a methyl pool, and it comes from choline. Methyl groups come from choline, come from methionine, but the principal way that the body transfers a methyl group from one molecule to another is through a molecule. This is a 25-cent word. It's S-adenosyl methionine. It is a molecule which is the active methyl transfer agent. And so what we see happening here is that methionine reacts with the APT to produce the S-adenosyl methionine, which then is actively able to transfer the methyl group to other molecules. For instance, if there's an inadequacy of methyl groups, homocysteine will build up in your bloodstream. Homocysteine is one of the criteria now for heart disease. In other words, if you have high homocysteine, it's one of the markers for heart disease. Well, if you methylate homocysteine, you produce methionine. And so when you have adequate methyl groups, you're able to convert molecules that need methyl groups and to be converted to other useful molecules. In this case, homocysteine is converted back into methionine, and then methionine in turn can be connected to the ATP to form SAM, the SAM molecule, which then is the active transmethylating agent. That's involved in there's over 30 transmethylation reactions that are known to date that SAMe is involved in. And so it's a little bit complex, but the point is that dimethylglycine and other molecules in the body contribute methyl groups into this, what I call this methyl pool, which then gets incorporated into SAMe, which then is actively transferred to other molecules.
I see, and that's the reason I assume we deem it that intermediary metabolite, because it is contributing to that pool and then from there everything cascades. So, well, Doc, we're going to take one last break here. We'll come back and wrap up the show. Wanted to ask you some questions about research since your book was written. We'll do that when we return. Folks, hang on. You're watching and listening to Dr. Roger Kendall here on Understanding Your Health. We'll be back in a moment.